your music sucks. Hey, your movies suck. And get off my lawn. Hey there guys, this is Rock Hard Riffs, the rock and roll guitar channel for the self-taught. Have you younger people been hearing a lot of that? Your music sucks, your movie sucks, everything just sucks. Well, I say it's not your fault. That's right, it's not your fault. And I think a lot of this has to do with a lot of technological innovations, inventions, etc. that have been coming down for the past several decades. I think really one of the big issues with today's music, movies, that sort of thing, is that there is a lack of perspective. Now, why is there a lack of perspective? Now, when I was a kid, and I'm sure that a lot of people out there watching this too relate to this, you know, the family probably had one TV. And if you're lucky, you might have a TV in your bedroom. If your parents or grandparents, whoever it is, your family, is watching a certain show out in the family room, you have to watch it out there with them. You can't go back into your bedroom and watch the same thing because you're wasting electricity, whatever that means. So really, we were kind of forced when we were kids, when I was a kid, that we all had to watch the same stuff that mom and dad, grandma and grandpa, whoever it might be, were watching. And Sundays, oh my gosh, were the worst. That's when Lawrence Welk was always on. Lawrence Welk, you'll probably hear people talk about him quite a bit. It's champagne music or whatever they called it. It's just old-fashioned waltzes and ballroom dancing music, that kind of thing. But we had to watch it if you're going to sit there and watch TV. The thing is that the older generations, kind of like mine, I guess you could say, we were exposed to a lot more stuff like Lawrence Welk. Now, even if we didn't like it, it's still in our subconscious. We got something out of it, at least musically. Now, I say a lot of this stuff started with cable TV, the invention of cable TV. Originally, it was HBO, and then it became cable TV, which HBO was on. And then, of course, with cable TV, you've got, it must have been 50, 60, 70, 80 channels of stuff that you had the choice of watching. And by this time, you're not watching what grandma and grandpa are watching or whatever else. And also, back in those days, we only had 3 or 4 channels, so there wasn't a lot of selection. Then with cable TV, you've got tons of selection. And next thing you know, things started to turn into niches or niches. People would put themselves in a pigeonhole and keep themselves in there. And the internet that came along, of course, quite a bit later, made it even worse, where people just have to find their little comfort zone and they stick to it and they are not exposed to anything else. I call that living in a bubble. Now, people, again, my age, when we grew up, we were exposed to a lot of stuff, whether we liked it or not. A lot of older stuff from the 20s, 30s, 40s, and 50s and all that were still on TV quite a bit in the 60s and 70s. And you saw a lot of the old actors and the old musicians and stuff from the old days on the TV, like Laugh-In and Carol Burnett and shows like that, Lawrence Welk. You saw a lot of the old stuff. But again, I'll tell you, it was a huge pool of stuff to draw from. What my generation and older generations had. They drew from the past because they were so exposed to it. Whereas people today, we're all in our little niche or our little niche, and we never go outside it, and we're never exposed to that big bad world that's outside of our blinders, right? So without the internet, without cable TV, the less information we had available, the more information we knew. It's just the complete opposite of how things are today. The more information that is available, it seems like the less society knows. And that's my opinion, is because, again, we keep putting ourselves in little pigeonholes. We put ourselves in a little bubble and we don't look outside of it. And I think that's a big issue. Another thing is that with the advent of MTV, I think a lot of people suddenly started thinking, well, gee, their attention span is shrinking. Everybody's attention span is shrinking. We just want 2 or 3 minute videos. Bing, bang, boom. Right? Well, that's not true. It's just that that's what was available. That's what you had to watch. So what choice did you have? So the MTV videos were like short little 2, 3, 3.5, maybe 4 minute mini movies. And some of them were really outstanding. Like a lot of the early Duran Duran stuff was very cool. Hungry Like the Wolf comes to mind. It was like a miniature movie. Very, very well done. But again, it's quick action. Boom, bang, boom, bang, boom. Like a mouse chasing a laser on a wall. They are assuming that that's what we're like, that our attention spans have all of a sudden decreased. Well, no, it's just that what's being offered. What else are you going to watch? What else are you going to do? The short videos now that we have on YouTube, like I'm doing myself, are another example of that. And Instagram, and etc. They're just short little videos, and you bleep and you just scroll through and scroll through and scroll through. It's not your fault. It's the people that are producing this stuff. They are the ones that get this idea in their head that we all of a sudden, all have short attention spans, right? After 1 or 2 generations, after my generation, next thing you know, everybody's attention span has shrunk. Well, no, that's not true. It's just what you're being offered. Now, as far as today's movies and music and all that stuff, what I strongly, highly suggest as a musician is to expose yourself to as much stuff as humanly possible, even if you don't like it. Listen to it. Check it out from time to time. And it might give you ideas. That's the whole point. I mean, take the Beatles. Take songs like Honey Pie or When I'm 64, those old McCartney tunes. Those are taken straight out of like Lawrence Welk type stuff. Little jazz or little dance hall music songs. And he gets the idea and makes a modern song of it. Queen, too. I can't remember. There are a few songs that they... Lazing on a Sunday Afternoon, I think it was, which is on Night of the Opera. Songs like that, little ditty songs, those are rooted way back and in our subconscious, as well as that from such a mass of exposure of old stuff. And, of course, there's a lot of old stuff, music, movies, etc., that totally suck. And that they're just like every generation, there's always the great stuff, the best stuff, the cream that rises to the top. But we're not having a lot of cream rising to the top right now because the music industry has been destroyed, number one, by the internet, basically. And also from the musicians themselves, a lack of exposure from other stuff to help make them more creative. Now, as songwriters and musicians, we all steal from stuff that we've kind of, it's stuck in our mind. It's like I'm making a new song. It's like, have I heard this somewhere before? Well, you just might have. But we take pieces of stuff from old stuff and from a lot of eclectic stuff and put it together. And that's what the Beatles did. The Beatles were the masters at it. Now, another thing why I think, again, why today's music might not be so great is that look at all of the great music and bands that came before. We're talking since recorded music. Now, recorded music hasn't been around all that long, guys. It hasn't been. Just not much over 100 years. And then it really started to develop when they, created better record players, and then radio came, and look out, it really went. So that's when recorded music just started to evolve. Then the 50s come, and rock and roll comes, and the 60s, which just opened everybody's minds. And the 70s, which in my opinion was probably the greatest decade for modern pop music, if you want to call it pop, popular music. Meaning, you've got so many great bands, the Eagles, and the Guess Who, and of course the Beatles and Pink Floyd. I mean, the list is endless. Led Zeppelin, Steely Dan, on and on and on. There are only so many great melodies left. I mean, if you think of all of the great bands and all of the great music that has been created over the decades, many, many decades, that there's only so much left. There's only so much new that you can come up with. And that's why I think everybody goes with the freaky looks. Everybody has just a new freaky look, the shock look. Everybody's shocked. And that's about all new that they can come up with. And now people are basically performing naked on stage, and there's nothing left, basically, I don't think. But there are going to be some ingenious people out there. There are going to be some people that are really motivated, and maybe they're exposed to more of the older stuff. And it's helped them. Now, take my son, for example. He's in his 20s. He loves heavy metal. He is a metalhead. But I also exposed him when he was a little kid to a lot of classic rock. Speaking of another thing, classic rock, that created another niche when classic rock radio came out. All people like me, older people like me, we're just listening to the classic rock. We don't want to hear any of the new stuff because what we're hearing is junk, right? Again, all of the great stuff may have been used up by now. You let me know. Let me know your opinion in the comments, guys. All right, we really appreciate you watching. This is a really good subject. I enjoy the talking about this subject. Please, again, leave a comment. All right, guys, please subscribe if you haven't already, and we will see you next video.